Good afternoon, everyone. So now we are entering into another day of our panels with esteemed speakers and another day of Solution Providers Day. We would like to start this day with a keynote from His Excellency, Mr. Mohammed al-Zarqani. But let me just say that Mr. Mohammed al-Zarqani of Egypt has more than 16 years of experience in local economic development, labor market reform, research and innovation, and safe and orderly management of human mobility. Before his appointment as a UN resident coordinator in Saudi Arabia, he has served as the chief of mission of the International Organization for Migration, IOM, in the Kingdom of Bahrain, where he was responsible for providing technical assistance to the government of Bahrain on all issues related to labor market reform, combating human trafficking, migration, environment and climate change, immigration and border governance, as well as migration and development. Between 2020 and 2022, His Excellency served as the United Nations Resident Coordinator in the Kingdom of Bahrain. So please, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I know everybody's been here this is your third day, and probably you heard a lot of talk, a lot of speeches, so I'll try to be as brief, as interesting as possible, I hope. If you don't find it as such, I hope you bear with me then. So esteemed delegates, distinguished guests, it is a great pleasure to deliver this keynote address at the International Future of Industry and Supply Chain Summit. It really is a historic gathering convened here in Riyadh. And as we embark on this pivotal journey amidst Saudi Arabia's rapid economic transformation, we really gather with a shared commitment to share the future of industry and supply chains for the betterment of our planet and its inhabitants. Riyadh, the dynamic capital of Saudi Arabia, stands as a testament to the kingdom's ambitious vision for the future, with substantial investments flowing into smart manufacturing and technology, driven by a monumental $26 billion government initiative. Riyadh is poised to emerge as a global epicenter of industrial innovation. This strategic focus underscores Saudi Arabia's determination to position itself as a leading industrial powerhouse and a hub for global transport and logistics. Globalization has led to the creation of more complex supply chains around the world. Around 80% of world trade is now based on global supply chains, supporting the livelihoods of at least 450 million people worldwide. Yet, until today, many of the products and raw materials we consume are produced under poor environmental and working conditions. In this vein, the transformation to sustainable production and supply chains is a collective effort and a shared responsibility among all relevant stakeholders, including regulators, industry, and consumers from industrialized and industrializing nations. Development entities, including those from the United Nations Development System, play a critical role in facilitating, catalyzing, and incentivizing good practices, as well as in ensuring an inclusive process that integrates the voices of all actors in global supply chains. As we chart the course for the future, it is essential to recognize the pivotal role of international organizations, I would say particularly the United Nations, in guiding and facilitating collective efforts towards sustainable development. Through the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals that all member states have committed to, including Saudi Arabia, the UN provides a comprehensive framework for addressing the interconnected challenges of poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. By fostering international cooperation, sharing best practices, and mobilizing resources, the UN supports countries in their quest for inclusive and sustainable industrialization. Within this context, I want to focus on three critical enablers that are really key to accelerate the adoption of up-to-date industrial practices and drive sustainable growth. Firstly, there is an urgent need to expedite the digital transformation of both government entities and private enterprises to fully participate in the rapidly evolving digital economy. By embracing innovative finance and cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and the Internet of Things, we can enhance the efficiency, optimize resource utilization, and reduce environmental impact across industry and supply chains. Secondly, concerted efforts are required to invest in the development of digital skills among the workforce. As industries undergo rapid digitalization, there is a growing demand for individuals with expertise in areas such as data science, cybersecurity, and robotics. By providing robust training and educational programs, we can equip workers with the skills they need to thrive in the digital economy, fostering greater economic inclusivity and social mobility. Finally, it is imperative to foster a vibrant ecosystem of collaboration between all relevant stakeholders, including enterprises, government agencies, and academia. By promoting innovation hubs, incubators, and technology parks, fertile ground for the development and adoption of cutting-edge technologies can be created. Moreover, by fostering partnerships and knowledge-sharing initiatives, we can accelerate the pace of innovation and drive sustainable growth across industries. Esteemed delegates and distinguished guests, as we strive for economic growth and industrial expansion, we must not lose sight of our responsibility to safeguard the environment and promote sustainable supply chains and industrial development. As industries continue to expand and diversify, there is a growing need for differentiated plastic and petrochemical products to meet evolving market demands. With mounting concerns over climate change, resource depletion, and pollution, it is imperative that we adopt a holistic approach to industrialization, one that prioritizes environmental sustainability, social inclusivity, and economic resilience. In this regard, the UN plays a crucial role in providing guidance, expertise, and resources to support countries in their transition towards industrial development. In 2022, Saudi Arabia and the UN signed the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework from the year 22 to 26 to encompass our collaboration on sustainable development and contribution to achieve the UN 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. Whether through capacity-building initiatives, technical assistance programs, or policy advocacy efforts, the UN serves as a vital partner in our collective endeavor to build a more equitable, prosperous, and sustainable world for future generations. Under the umbrella of the cooperation framework, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, as you know as UNIDO, the UN agency specialized in promoting sustainable industrial development and progress by innovation, is forging a strong partnership with Saudi Arabia, contributing to the cooperation framework's strategic priority area 3, prosperity, and of course to Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. The collaboration will reach a significant milestone in November next year, so November 2025, with the UNIDO General Conference being hosted by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Riyadh for the very first time in the region. This prestigious event marks the culmination of a series of successful initiatives undertaken by UNIDO and the Kingdom. Their shared commitment to propelling Saudi Arabia's industrial development has really fueled this joint effort. While the UN is certainly integral to fostering progress on inclusive industrial practices, we must build partnerships with a broader scope of organizations, such as the Digital Cooperation Organization, and forward-thinking and innovative partners, such as the ministries, and of such, the Ministry of Industry and Natural Resources, who bring new thinking and dynamics to challenging our understanding of potential for the future. Esteemed delegates and distinguished guests, in conclusion, let us seize this very key moment as an opportunity to reaffirm our collective commitment to inclusive industrial practices. By harnessing the power of technology, fostering collaboration, and embracing innovation, we can pave the way for a future where industry and supply chains serve as engines of economic growth, social progress, and environmental stewardship. Together, let us embark on this journey with determination, optimism, and a shared vision for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. This has been a very insightful note on driving sustainable industrial growth. Thank you for that. Now, moving on to another topic that we would like to speak about with our next esteemed speakers, new trends in smart logistics. I would like to welcome Mr. Ashraf Ali, CEO of Flow Progressive Logistics. Mr. Ashraf. And تفضل حضرتك. The first one, yes. Thank you. And Mr. Rami Yunus, General Manager of Swisslog Middle East. Mr. Yunus. And Mr. Khaldoon Deep, CEO of Technical Option Company. And of course, Mr. Ryan Harmon, editor of ITP Media. No? Thank you very much for joining us, and it's a pleasure. And we would like to know more about your experience in the industrial sector, and well, I know that you all come from different kind of ground fields, and we would like to know more and start with Mr. Elili on how, if you can tell us more about Ashraf Elili and what do you do exactly at Flow Progressive Logistics?
Thank you so much, first of all, and for the introduction and for the wonderful forum. We've been here in this forum last year, and it's always a pleasure for us to be in this fantastic and successful forum that brings the entire ecosystem under one roof. So thank you so much for that, and for the entire team that are behind the scene to make this a successful event. Ashraf Ali, I'm the CEO of Flow Progressive Logistics. Been in the logistic and the supply chain industry for the last 25 years now. I lead Flow with a wonderful team here in Saudi, in Jeddah, and in the GCC region. Our aspiration is to become a pioneer when it comes to end-to-end logistic offering and supply chain in the region and globally. And we are all driven by customer centricity. We strongly believe that the customer in today's world is the one dictating the price and the service and the quality. And we are here just to enable those customers and those business partners.
I would like to go to Mr. Yunus, and if you can introduce yourself and what you do exactly.
Good morning or good afternoon.
With the Swisslog.
Yes.
Yes.
Rami Yunus, General Manager of Swisslog Middle East. Swisslog is a data-driven automation and robotics solution provider. So basically anything inside the facility, we automate that from storage to retrieval to sortation. Anything inside the facility, we manage that in a factory or in a warehouse. We've been in the region since 2010 in our first projects then. We have an extensive number of references here, but it's been a fun journey. The customers are evolving, the market is changing, and we're excited to be part of it with our partners to drive innovation into the region.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Mr. Khaldoon Deep, please let us know more about Technical Options company, please.
First, thank you for being part of this conference and this exhibition. It was exciting and fruitful to see, the logistics and manufacturing industry professionals gathering in such a place. I'm Khaldoon Deep. I'm an engineer for more than 20 years experience in the logistics and in the sector of oil and gas and renewable and digital transformation. I'm the CEO of Technical Option company. It's part of Noria Capital. I'm also the managing director of Noria Capital, which is a fund that invests in technologies, especially in insurtech and in energy. And our mandate is to invest in technologies around the world and bring them to the Saudi market. And TOC is our first initiative to bring vision telematics into the Saudi market. We have other initiatives coming in the pipeline related to claim automation and also energy distribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan Harmon, if you can introduce yourself and what do you do in ITP Media, please?
Yes, of course. Delighted to be here today. Delighted to speak to everybody here. My name is Ryan Harmon. I'm the editor of Logistics Middle East. So we are a media platform covering logistics and supply chain here in the region with a main focus on the UAE and Saudi Arabia. I've been in the position for the past year. We've been working with companies across the region, highlighting the key trends and what is developing here in the Middle East. Before that, I was based in Ireland, where I'm originally from, working in the logistics sector in media as well. I'm delighted to be here today to speak about new trends in smart logistics.
Brilliant, thank you. And okay, so being editor in Logistics Middle East, I'm sure you can let us into the latest trends in logistics, and if you can enlighten our audience on that, please.
Yeah, of course. I think there's, for me, 3 key trends that are kind of emerging in the smart logistics space, especially when it comes to technology. So firstly, we're kind of looking at IoT and the Internet of Things and the big impact that is having on the industry. I think having that ability to be able to track every part and every item in the supply chain is really beneficial for companies, and it's driving a lot of visibility and giving companies more adaptability when it comes to managing disruptions in the supply chain as well. So I think that is the first key point that is really crucial here, and I think it's going to develop at a fast pace in the coming years. The next one then would be blockchain technology. That ability to see every transaction that's made across the supply chain and to track this in a digital ledger, I think is really, really important. And it gives a lot of insight into what is happening. And I think for companies that work with a lot of partners and there's a lot of parts to the supply chain, it really enhances cooperation across the supply chain. Companies can have complete visibility on what is going on. And it is something that is not changeable. It's permanent. There's no way fraud can happen or any discrepancies in the ledger. And then obviously, especially focusing here in Saudi Arabia, I think AI is a big driver in the technology space right now. I think if you look at Vision 2030, a key part of that is economic diversification and really driving technological change, and AI is a big part of that for the supply chain here in Saudi Arabia. I think it has many uses. You can look at warehousing and robotics and how AI is affecting that. You can look at as well last mile delivery and route optimization using AI. And I think really it's incredible to see the work that is happening here in Saudi Arabia and how willing companies here are to adapt AI and to really drive forward that change.
Okay, great, brilliant. If I can move the question to Mr. Yunus, we would like to know more about automated logistics and how automation trends can help evolve the sector.
Automation in the region is still in its early stages, very early stages. So our role is to really educate the market and correct some of the inaccurate assumptions people have. Too expensive, unreliable, not the right fit. And that's what we do, right? We do these shows and we do these events as part of our education to help people adopt the technology. Because I think there's a lot of misnomers based on what people have seen before, choosing the wrong partner or the wrong technology. And that's why it's key. Thank you for adding into that AI and robotics. I mean, we are an innovator. We don't offer Me Too products. And we were talking about with AI, we're not talking about ChatGPT. It's a great product, much respect, but we're talking about that into vision so the robots can actually pick without knowing any of the 20 million SKUs from e-commerce coming in, what that is. Because it's not effective to try to teach it something when you don't know what's coming in. It's going to continue to change and people want variety. So we use AI in a smart way within our solutions so that we can deliver fast, reliable, cost-effective technology, right? But it's a journey, and that's a journey with the customer to understand what they need, to make it scalable, and they can actually get the values. We have some of our customers are startups, and they're very, very successful, all the way to big multinationals. So it works both ways. You have to be flexible with the customer to provide the right technology.
Amazing. Great. Now to Mr. Deep. If you can tell us about how TOC is pioneering in all vision telematics, and what about the advanced solutions in EVA Pro? If you could elaborate on that. Thank you.
So basically, the TOC has put in the market dual dash cam that has two lenses, one on the road, one on the driver. And we have our own in-house software that was developed to manage this dual cam that has an AI capabilities to capture the driver behavior and also to capture the road and the risk associated with the road. So basically, the idea here is to register these vision telematics in a way to document them in kind of incidents that can be lifted or can be supported to the cloud portal, and eventually the fleet manager will have an idea about the risk related to the trip that the driver is doing. And basically, EVA Pro is now being deployed in the Saudi market with several companies in multi-industry, from the water to the oil and gas to the logistic to the last mile delivery. And we're seeing a change in behavior in the driver, since we are also enabling the driver to have a feedback on these incidents through a specific application that will report at the end of the trip report, and will show the incidents and will enable the driver to comment on these incidents. And this will bring more understanding on the behavior of the driver and also on the risk associated with the trip itself or with the road.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, Mr. Elili, with how is Flow Logistics being aware that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is the gateway to MENA area? Now, the technologies and innovations used in your end-to-end logistics solutions for fluent operations and customer satisfaction, how are you handling this?
Thank you, Dr. Tahani. We are still learning. I would say we just started the journey. I mean, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, such a thing like my friend here, Yunus, was talking about ChatGPT was not even there, right? Let alone the artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things and all these buzzwords. 3 years ago, they were just buzzwords, right? Now, we cannot say that we are there, we are not there. And hopefully, with whatever we're doing at Flow and at Sulaiman Group level, we will be there and we have to be there very shortly. Two pillars are in our organization are the warehousing and land or B2B transportation. And in logistics and supply chain are the two most important things, I would say. So on warehousing, for instance, we have started already a lot of automation when it comes to our handling the warehouses itself. We have in King Abdullah Economic City around 120,000 square meters. Those 120,000 square meters are handled by around 55 co-workers only. And it's like 7 days a week, 24 hours, 365 a year, non-stop operations. And that was possible for us by using really state-of-the-art automation tools, which allows us to reduce the human intervention, the number of accidents, the errors, and all of that optimization. We reflect that in our service level to our customers. And the customers are becoming more and more like any country in the world, but specifically in Saudi, more demanding when it comes to service level, when it comes also to cost, and the optimization will give both of them. The second thing, we use a lot of predictive analytics as we speak today in order to foresee the maintenance need for our equipment, and that's very important. I mean, a shutdown or error in any of the systems that we are handling using automation or else can cause a lot of troubles to us and to our customers. So we use a lot of predictive analytics in what we do. It's a team of programmers in-house that they do that. And we continue learning. The machine is learning, and we are learning ourselves. And that's very important. We're going to get into the journey very shortly at the group level at Sulaiman, but also at Flow, part of Sulaiman in blockchain. And we think that's where we need to put our dollars there in the coming days and months and maybe years as well. End of the day, it's how we can optimize our operations using this technology, and how can we reflect that optimization back into customer satisfaction, be it cost or service.
That's great. So are you aware at the moment as to the role of AI at this point? Are you aware of it and you're eager to use it? You think it's going to help? Or you're okay with the status quo?
No,
as is?
It's like what my colleague and friend Yunus is saying here, and we're still learning. So we don't know what those machines are capable to do. The amount and vast data that artificial intelligence need to handle and needs to tell us how can we do things. I'm just give you an example today. We have a big machine using some of the artificial intelligence at King Abdullah Economic City. And that machine basically tells you, using the manifest of whatever is coming from the vessel or from the airplane, or from the trucks itself, it tells us if we have to put it on the high bay, 40 meters up or in front or on the back, depending on is it a fast-moving product, is it heavy, is it a slow-moving product, and what have you, to optimize a little bit, the life of the machine itself on the racking, the electricity and the power and the energy, because sustainability is equally important for us, and also the speed to serve that client. Those machines continue every month to give us a new algorithm, believe it or not. And when the day we say we are optimized, guess what? Next month, our optimization goes down to 90%, and then we have to bring it up again to 96 and 97. So it's a continuous journey, I guess. To answer your question, Doctor, I don't know. But,
that's brilliant. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank
I think it's a new frontier, and all sectors are exploring in AI. As you said, it is the buzzword. Okay, so if I can ask Mr. Rami Yunus about the unique challenges that you face when you implement smart logistics solutions in the Middle East, especially.
It's the hardest part is in most of the world is the labor cost reduction. It's the availability of labor, which is we don't have that issue in the Middle East.
Oh.
Right? It's not a labor cost reduction. Labor is available and is plenty. Our challenge is much bigger and more complicated because we are catching up to capacity and performance constraints as we bring in more manufacturing, as the consumers are becoming more demanding. So as simple as e-commerce, everybody wants to get something in 2 hours, right? This is the mantra. 2 hours is the new norm, right? This is the metric. Now, to do that, a facility like Flow will have to innovate how they work, right? In the old days, that was a 3-day delivery. Now we're talking about 2 hours delivered at your doorstep. So that changes the way we receive an order, we handle it physically in the building, how we make it available for dispatch, how it's packaged, how it's routed so it's cost effective. And the competition is fierce, right? The competition is absolutely fierce. Vision 2030 opened the door to everybody trying to innovate and be in this field. Logistics is a key sector. So to survive in this field, you have to, 1, automate, and 2, be innovative. And you have to adapt. And that is the key. And that's what we're working with right now. It's a complicated proposition for customers to remain valid in this sector, right? If you were status quo, shipping at the same 3-4 day deliveries, you're gone. Literally, you're gone. You're not going to survive. And that's why most companies now are looking at cost-effective ways to do it that fit them, scalable, as they learn through the process. And that's what we help them with. We're not there to say, do it all at once. Absolutely not. Let's start the journey. There's foundations, let's build them, let's get used to it. And we can modularly add pieces as they need it, as they grow into it. And their needs change, right? Riyadh now is different than Riyadh 5 years ago. I remember driving in Riyadh and everything was half an hour. Literally everything was half an hour. Nobody can tell you anything's half an hour anymore because it takes a lot longer because we have 9 million people going to 16. But these people are consumers, they have demands, they need it. So we need to adapt and change and how we structure our facilities. They're no longer mega facilities sitting in the outskirts. They're micro-fulfillments sitting in the centers, supporting smaller populations for e-grocery and e-commerce, right? This is how we're adapting. And this is how we kind of have to work with the market to educate at the options available, right? They don't have to be massive high bay warehouses. They can be a combination of things to work.
Thank you. That's an interesting take. And okay, so how about Mr. Khaldoon? Do you think that the economic benefits of artificial intelligence will help capture all the logistic chains and critical incidents with video recordings?
Yeah, I will add to what Rami said about the market and the competitiveness and also the client expectation from one side. So by the end of the day, any solution that you will put in the market, whether it was an AI-enabled solution or a simple solution, at the end, it has to affect the bottom line of an operator. It has to affect the bottom line. And a solution like TOC, the Ava Pro solution, it will help the fleet operators to lower down their costs. And how they do that? First, by avoiding accidents. So basically, if you have an AI vision telematic tool in your vehicle, we noticed, or not only we noticed, we have documented that the number of accidents goes down by minimum 40% because the driver has additional pair of eyes with him, notifying him of any hazard on the street, on the road. Also, it will affect the driver behavior. So the driver will become, let's say, he will have more safer behavior in driving because we can track distractions and record that. So eventually, if the number of accidents goes down, the cost associated with accidents will go down also. And that's, we witnessed more than 50%. Then building on that, the insurance after a while also comes down. We've seen that the cost of fuel went down 10% and the cost of maintenance went down 9%. So all of that is documented as a witness that whenever you enable a technology and you enable the AI technology in a market where competitiveness is really harsh. And also we can see that operators, they and this is something very unique about the Saudi market, is that you can see that most of those working in this market, they have an attraction to technology and to deploy technology. And that's why we decided that the first market for such a technology to be Saudi Arabia, versus like if you develop a technology today, either you go with it to the US or Europe, this is your first. But which we have chosen this market because we think that the deployment will be as fast as possible, and we are not disappointed in that point.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to Ryan, if you don't mind telling us more about game-changing innovation. Well, there's an increasing interest in HUV, in logistics, so and the role of drones. Can you highlight that, please?
Yeah, of course. I think drones are definitely something that is of interest to everybody in the industry. I don't think we're at a point yet where they are widespread and they're going to be used commonly for, let's say, a delivery process. I think over time, as the technology develops and we get to a point where the regulation is in place that drones are being able to be used without, let's say, accidents in the sky, packages falling out of the air, you know, this kind of thing, I think that we'll see companies adopt it more, especially when it comes to last mile delivery. I think this is one of the aspects of logistics that's kind of the biggest headache for companies. You know, how, as we were discussing already, how we can cater to the growing e-commerce market here in the Middle East, how we can get deliveries to people in that 2-hour window, you know. I think drones will play a part in that, definitely in the future. They have the ability to get in big, densely populated areas. They have the ability to get from point A to B quickly. You know, you take Riyadh or Dubai, and the amount of traffic on the roads now is off the charts. So I think drones offer a solution to this, to where people can get their goods and customers can be satisfied with the service they are receiving. I think as well, obviously, that comes with a sustainability boost too. You know, if we can electrify these drones and have them flying around and take less or more cars and vehicles off the roads, I think that also has the additional benefit of that. So moving forward, I think, look, it's not going to happen next month or maybe even next year, but definitely in the future, I think it's something that we'll see more of.
Yes, of course. Okay, so moving to Mr. Elili, as an expert of analytical capacity, how do you predict the future of logistics in Saudi Arabia?
Well, two things, I think. I mean, Saudi Arabia as a country, as a kingdom, has started the journey in the right way and manner. Means when you want to do something, you want first to strengthen the foundation of the ecosystem itself. And I think that's what has been done so far and continue to be done at different ministry level, at different regulation, different also chamber of commerce, but also us as operators. And we feel the urgency for us to contribute positively to this evolution that the kingdom is doing. Now, that's one thing. So strengthening the foundation is critical, because starting something big in 2024 is not easy. But when you get the buying of every single player around you, be it public, private sector, academy, regulator, chamber of commerce, I was saying, and so on, people, they evolve quickly. Now, on top of that, we're seeing a lot of dialogues between us as private operators and the government itself, and the different ministries that are leading the way when it comes to supply chain and to the logistics. And that's very critical, because one cannot do it by its own. We have to do it together, and it's our responsibility to do it together. Tomorrow, and when I say tomorrow, it's today, Saudi is becoming, slowly but surely, a center of the world when it comes to the hub, the logistic main player as a country. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we heard about also some new enablement when it comes to regulation, when it comes to transit shipment and which will allow also not only the import to the country, but the re-export from the country. So things are happening. When we do all of this, next to it, automation has to be there, Internet of Things has to be there, artificial intelligence has to be there, but also and above all, sustainability also has to be there. And both of them are working hand to hand as two pillars for the kingdom future and the successful kingdom future when it comes to supply chain. I think success to Saudi economy and any other country economy is supply chain and logistics. And Saudi is doing it right and the right way.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, if I can ask Rami, please, if you can tell us about how initiatives like Saudi Vision 2030 and the Dubai 10X impact Swisslog's business and operations and strategy, and what steps are you taking to align your company's goals with these initiatives?
Vision 2030, now Vision 2040, is not only here, but it's evident. The number of multinational investors moving to the region is impressive, right? We're talking about car manufacturing, something nobody assumed would happen in the region, right? Electric vehicle car manufacturing is here, right? So in different sectors beyond petrochemicals, we're talking about consumer goods, we're talking about technology being manufactured here, being used here, being adopted here. That is coming. And as that is here, we need to catch up because all of these new customers have requirements for capacity and performance. And with Vision 2030, we're talking about everything from entertainment to culture, right? As we said, Riyadh's 9 million growing to 16 million, right? This is a hungry, energetic population. Alhamdulillah, they are driving the economy in the right direction. So we need to be present more, we need to work, educate the customers more to show that there is a better way to do it. There's a cost-effective way to do it, an innovative way to do it that is good for a startup and good for a multinational. And we can work with all sides. So we really focus on evolving the technologies we have, innovating new ones, developing improvements as we hear our customers and what they need. That's critical. You know, we spend a lot of time talking to our customers about what they like, what they want to see improvements in, where they're headed, how things are changing, and we're adapting. Very quickly, we're adapting. Not in how we just design the solutions, but how we deploy them. We're a global company with a local presence, from a support to execution. We're here, and that's the only way you can support the customers here. You can't do it from 10,000 miles away. It's not effective. It's not going to work.
Definitely, of course. Well, on the same question, I would like to know from Mr. Deep, being CEO of TOC, and based on your daily experience, what would you like to see, which challenges would you like to see out of the way for a more rapid logistic development in the region and specifically in Saudi Arabia?
When we talk about, I think the challenges is basically related to deploying the technology faster. Like currently, if you have an advanced technology and coming to a market, usually those who are using other technologies, they need some time to be aware of that technology. And I think that point of awareness is, it either happens with conferences like this one, or even other platforms where you can show off the technology that you want to have. I think such platform should be there in order to put these type of technologies and raise the awareness of their users in a way or another. I think that's to find such play. This is one of the challenges. I don't see that we have challenges with the target customer when we have the customer. So once we arrive to the customer, once we talk to the customer and we We explain the technology, the benefit of it. Directly, we are in a POC, in a proof of concept project, in few days to try it and then to look at it, how to distribute it. On the other side, when it comes to the structure itself, we don't see any problem in the cloud, for instance, in the cloud services now. Saudi Arabia, we have more than 1, 2, 3, 4 cloud operator, and Google was the last one, and I think the other ones are coming very soon. So basically, when we talk about structure, so the structure is there, and I think that the AI itself, as a technology, it will not only affect the solutions that we are using, but also I think we should look at it in a way that it will make the user smarter, but it also change the behavior of the user to a desired behavior, safer, secure, more less accident in work, less risk. So I think this is the role of the AI in a way or another.
Yes, exactly. And okay, moving on to Mr. Ryan Harmon, I'm sorry. Well, let's say in a utopia of logistics, how would you describe the ecosystem in that logistic world? Ideal one, let's say.
In an ideal world, I suppose,
Yes.
something that is becoming more prevalent now is the need to be sustainable in our operations. And that's something that's really driving forward the industry in the future. I think if you look at it, really, like, the transportation and logistics industry is one of the biggest polluters traditionally in the planet. And moving into that, like, ideal world, we want to be able to mitigate that and to move towards solutions that are more environmentally conscious and friendly. So I think that is a phased approach. It's not something that happens overnight, but I think you're seeing now in the region a lot of governmental support for this. You look at COP28 being held in the UAE last year, Saudi Vision 2030 as well. It's a real cornerstone of the vision to have sustainability at the core of operations. And I think the pushback sometimes for companies is, look, there's a big cost to being sustainable. It's not as efficient in our operations to be sustainable. But I think we are seeing solutions emerge that help that. We are seeing electric vehicles being rolled out. While the infrastructure maybe isn't there right now for charging, let's say, in long distance journeys, I think it is definitely getting better and improving across the Middle East. I think we look at new packaging solutions, there's definitely gains to be made there where companies can cut down on the amount of packaging they're using in their operations. I think as well, being in the Middle East with all the renewable energy that could be at our disposal, we look at solar power potentially powering warehouses in the future. I think there's a lot of options to build towards a more sustainable future in the industry. Companies are collecting data from all aspects of their supply chain. And really what we can now do with AI is monitor this data and really explore how we can make our operations more efficient, but also more sustainable, putting the two of them together. I think, for example, you could look at machinery in a warehouse. With AI now, it is possible to monitor and know when you need maintenance for your machines. This cuts down on the investments if you're looking after your machines, and it is also more sustainable because you're getting a longer life out of them. So I think, this is just one example of ways that companies can really focus on the future and develop more sustainability in their operations.
Yes. And environmentally friendly.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Thank you. Brilliant. I would really like to involve our guests and audience for any questions for our panel. That would be, so if you can please introduce yourself and your question, that would be most welcome. Yeah. Well.
Can I pick up on the solar idea? Because I just read an article yesterday that renewable energy has reached 40% on the planet now. And this is a United Nations report. So do you think Saudi Arabia, I'll ask anybody, I don't mind, but Ryan, you brought it up. Do you think Saudi Arabia and really sunny places have a bigger part to play than, say, Ireland, where it rains all the time?
Definitely, I think there's huge potential for it here. It is always, as I kind of mentioned earlier, that initial investment that is kind of the sticking point. You know, it's not cheap to have a warehouse fully powered by solar energy, but I think that with the way things are progressing, it is becoming imperative for these kind of initiatives to be put in place. And I think we will see more of it here in Saudi Arabia as the years go on.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, James. If you have any questions that you would like to raise for our panel?
Can I add to that?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hello? Yeah.
Rami.
So as we innovate, we try to develop newer technology that uses less energy, right? And that's the key. So now some of our equipment has regenerative energy as they break, as they go down, store it back. We connect back to the grid when you have a solar power grid. So sustainability is key, but it also helps the bottom line. In the end of the day, it's not just a buzzword. It's purely the bottom line. Cost of energy will continue to go up, period. So if you do your calculations based on that escalating model, it's just a no-brainer. So we, as Swisslog, innovate and lead the way in terms of developing sustainable solutions that help the bottom line and help the environment at the same time, right? So it's hand in hand, industry, working with government, working with the customers to provide the right solutions. That's critical.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this addition. And, well, I guess there are, if you have any questions, please, Dr. Yeah, would you like to ask any question? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Okay, I really thank you, gentlemen. This has been quite informative, at least for myself. Thank you for giving us your valuable time and to, discussing all these new trends in logistics industry. And yes, we'll have to give them a big hand for this. Thanks a million. Thank you very much. Now we would like to come back with another take on another topic today, and that's the roadmap to smart factories. We are lucky to have Mr. Tony Mghabrab, CEO of MEPEQ, but I would like to give a brief introduction about Mr. Mghabrab, who is an industrial leader and engineering expert with over 25 years of expertise providing customized automation and connectivity for complex engineering projects to guide existing factories on their journey towards Industry 4.0. To materialize his vision, Mr. Mghabrab established MEPEQ, an industrial engineering firm crafting customized innovative solutions and consultancy services for manufacturers from all industries. Using an optimal blend of mechanics, robotics, and human expertise. So Tony Mghabrab is the CEO of MEPEQ, will be speaking today about roadmap to smart factory.
As Dr. said, we've been providing solutions, consultancy, automation, and robotic solutions for the last nearly 30 years, especially in Saudi Arabia. So we know very well the landscape of the FMCG business and factories existing here. A few days ago, I was visiting one of our main customers, a big customer with many manufacturing facilities. And one senior manager told me, look, Tony, we've been hearing about Industry 4.0 for the last, I don't know how many years, but to be frank, nothing materialized. So after small reflection, you realize that he's right. I mean, people industry lag behind going to smart manufacturing. And according to statistics, 70% of factories, out of 100% factories who knows about smart manufacturing, only 70% are there to, they have no vision or no action plan to execute it. So we see that everybody needs a roadmap to go into this path, into this transformation. So let us step back a little bit and define what is the fourth industrial revolution. I mean, we have heard it millions of times. We have seen hundreds of definitions. If you come to a small, let's say, similarity, I mean, a small definition in one phrase, I would say it's a connected physical world into a virtual world. So you have the physical world that we are all living in. We are digitally connected to a virtual world present somewhere on the cloud, on the servers. And we are on a daily basis transacting with this world. When we order food, our virtual identity interact or transact with the restaurant virtual identity to execute function on the physical world. Somebody will bring the food, deliver it to my house. So the Industrial Revolution is, I mean, with the frequency of evolutions in technologies, which is becoming more and more frequent on a weekly and daily basis, you would say it's no more an evolution from somewhere to somewhere else. Actually, it is a revolution. And when we say revolution, that means a big disruption. That means you have some casualties. That means you have some opportunities. A small example of opportunities could be Amazon. Another example of casualty could be Toys R Us, who really failed to cope with these new changes. So all this happening around us, Industry 4.0, and especially the manufacturing, is no exception. The digital transformation inside all the factories is not an option, is an obligation. You just need, and the factories need, a helping hand that comes and help them define how to proceed step by step. Every time I talk with one customer about Industry 4.0, he talks about automation or digitalization. It's not true. I mean, robotics and digital, I mean, ERPs are present in 20 years and 30 years. Robotics are present since 50 years. The point is, we did not yet get all the benefits of Industry 3.0 to move towards the 4.0. So, as a first step, I would say, no worries. The difference, I mean, if you have a factory Industry 3.0 ready, then you just need to connect it. When you have digitalized factory, you are collecting data, and data, relevant data, and these data are stored, accumulated, in order later to put some intelligence up to it. This is where Industry 4.0 comes. So we go back and we say, let us discuss 3.0 first to see how to move it forward. And then we will connect it. And the connection, there's many suppliers in technology, in cloud computing that are ready to help. Sorry. So, automation initiative. So it has been, as I said, a while that automation is present. But the movement or the investment in this field was always considered as a luxury. It is not part of the main process. If I want to produce bread, automation is a luxury. If I want to produce beverage, unless it's outside the human capabilities, then I go for automation. What is really essential is we change our way of thinking of automation. Yes, automation has to be justified, but let us consider it from a different perspective. Let us not only look at the return of investment. No, we go more than that. We go on return of objective. If safety is important, if connectivity is one part of a strategy, then let us do it. Especially in Saudi Arabia, with a lot of initiatives coming from the government, you have the chance really to step ahead of other countries. And what I'm saying about the situation in the industry is applicable worldwide, not only in Saudi Arabia. Of course, you have different maturities in different type of industry, but the FMCG industry is really lacking behind worldwide. So when you want to go and automate, have a partner that looks into all the details and act in an excellent way in order to help you define why you are doing it, how you're going to do it. So if at the end of your study, despite all the return on objective justification, it doesn't turn out to be viable, forget it. It's not a miss. I mean, you can always digitize a factory, even if it is totally manual. I mean, the factory who produces handmade shoes, do you think he will automate it one day? Never. This is his value proposition, this is his value added. But he can always come and then connect all his manual operators to have a more insights, to have transparent data of what's going on inside the factory, and then later automate it and then connect it. So, where to start? We have a say in the company. We say we need to redefine human machine. And then this is really, really fundamental in the way we look at things. We only look at machines. We only look at smart machines. Oh, best technology, best of class machines. What happens when you bring this machine to an operator who is not used to that, who is used to operate a machine 20 years old? So it is a human aspect is a very essential aspect. A performing organization is a combination of a performing human and a performing machine. They go hand in hand together. So, whenever you want to start with a project, a huge project like digitalization, start with a culture change inside the company. Have the people around you know about what is it. What are the opportunities? Let them train them, send them to seminars, expose them to knowledge. Once they are there on board, they can help. One person cannot take a big table. You need all the people around the table to help from their part in order to be able to lift a table. So the human part is the most important and essential part in any transformation. Now, I've heard many times, oh, we have recruited this big consulting companies that has been really sponsored by the government, and they are going to solve all the problems. Not true. And not true at all. These companies are here to execute their own strategy because they define they want to sell this to here or to that country or to that place, where your strategy is completely different. And nobody in this world knows your factory, your operation more than you do. So don't ask technology vendors to define your enterprise architecture. You do it with your people. Don't be fooled by pre-baked integration. Some people would say, we have a package. We can sell you this package to connect your lines, and then you collect all the data. See, what is your experience? Where did you implement it? Is there any similar industry? Is there any similar operating mode to what we do? In every company, you have a value added coming from the people, value added coming from the management, and then later from the machines and the operators. So whenever somebody comes and propose an integration or a pre-baked integration, ask yourself 100 times, is that correct or is that feasible for you or not? Otherwise, it could have been really very easy to go to Industry 4.0, to smart manufacturing. I go to this supplier, I buy this, to this supplier, I buy that, and I'm finished. I'm done. I'm smart factory now. So define your strategy and roadmap with the measurable milestone. So can you imagine now you have built a culture for a change going to the future, simulating different aspects and opportunities, and all your team are all together, each in his own place, whether in maintenance, engineering, in operation, production, accounting, finance, and then do it, define it yourself with the help of the consultant. There's no problem. But then you do it yourself. When you define a milestone step by step with small achievement, then everybody will feel satisfactory. Let us first connect the lines, the production lines on the MES to see how is the performance of the line. We collected now, we have seen some anomalies here and there, so let us work on it. So the fact that you digitize one of the production line, and you have seen that you are able now to improve the performance of that line of a specific percentage, then everybody will be happy. This will be fantastic. This is a good milestone. This is a very positive energy to proceed and go ahead with further steps. Before that, something that I need as well to mention here. Whenever you define your strategy, you know that Industry 4.0 or digital transformation needs a lot of suppliers, a lot of partners. You have the consultant, yes, but you have the technology partner as well. You have the software partner, ERP and so forth. You have the automation partner. So there are too many aspects. And then none of them should overrule the other one. If you don't have a complete set of functionalities among them that you monitor and you control, then the project of transformation is doomed to fail. Change how you buy your new manufacturing assets. So again, I go back to the point where when we buy an automation project, now we have to go for the cheaper. What is the cheapest solution on the market? I need to take it because I have only this return on investment acceptable by the management. Okay, but wait a second. Is your strategy saying go for the cheapest because we want to make today more money, or because we want to make more money in the future? And if it is in the future, let us think today, how can you buy something that is compatible with the future, that is compatible with Industry 4.0, whether in modularity, interoperability, or connectivity, and all of that. And so when you buy a new machine, you say to the supplier, now how can I connect this machine? What information can I collect? Am I collecting only operation information, or maintenance operation. I need not only the operation to optimize my production, but I need as well maintenance and some sensors inside the machine to collect the maintenance data. Whenever I have extra vibration or extra heat or extra whatever, then I will collect all of this, and I have a very strong base of database where with time I will be able to train an AI system and then predict and make decisions on my behalf for the future. So it is really very essential to take an automation supplier, solution supplier, who understands these aspects, who helps you in deciding which is best for your application, and depending on your strategy, of course. So once you succeed in digitizing, you're connecting your factory, then you are in different league. So imagine now that your factory is present virtually on the cloud. So you have a digital twin of your factory, you have digital twin of your R&D, so you can simulate new product, you can run this new product in your factory virtually. So imagine how much time, how much time is reduced when you go to a new product. Imagine the saving in sustainability, the waste that you could produce. So this opened up to all the technologies today available for the Industry 4.0. And then there's a number today: big data, artificial intelligence, digital twin, virtual reality, and all of this will be available for you because now your factory is connected as if your restaurant next door with his menu is connected. It is tough, it has a big inertia, it's a lot of work, but I think you have no option.
Mr. Tony, thank you very much for that. That was fantastic. I'm sorry we ran out of time.
Oh, really?
But unfortunately, we went over time actually.
Okay.
But thank you very much for joining us at the Industrial Summit.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Could we have a photograph, please?
Yes.
I'd just like to say the next session, I'd like to welcome back to the stage Mr. Ryan Harmon, who's going to be moderating a panel, Automation in Warehousing and Shaping the Future of Logistics. And he will be moderating the panel made up of engineer Khalil Sibali and Mr. Quinton Naylor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Great for you all to join us here today for this panel on automation in warehousing. So I'd like to introduce our two panelists today, engineer Khalil Sibali, Business Development Manager at Savoy, and Mr. Quentin Naylor, Executive Director of Performance Excellence at Starlinks. So Mr. Naylor, if we begin with yourself, can you just introduce yourself to the audience and a little bit about Starlinks as well, please?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I'm Quentin Naylor. I run everything sort of M&A strategy and capability for Starlinks. And Starlinks is a Saudi-owned end-to-end logistics business. Everything from fulfillment, transportation, international freight services, cross-border, both in B2B and e-commerce. But also we provide solutions. So we design, build and operate warehouses for third parties in partnership with Saudi Telecom's IoT division. So linking back to the last presentation about smart logistics.
Yeah. And engineer Khalil, can you introduce yourself to the audience as well and a little bit about what you do at Savoy as well?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Khalil Sibali. I'm the Business Development Manager of Savoy in Saudi Arabia. I'm based in Riyadh with 14 plus years of experience in automation. At Savoy, it's a French company, so it's called Savoy. In English, we say it's Savoy. So feel free to name it whatever you want, at least contact us. So we provide warehouse automation solutions, technologies and software. So we have both divisions in terms of warehouse management software and robotic and automation solutions for the warehousing.
Okay, great. And sticking with yourself, Khalil, let's start with what you think are the major challenges that companies face when they transition from manual to automated or robotic warehousing systems, especially here in the region?
Yes, yes. Yeah, for sure, transitioning from manual to automation presents a lot of challenges. Will not list them all, but so if we are talking about a greenfield warehouse, there is no issue because you're starting from scratch, you have a greenfield. But when you are transitioning an existing operation with an existing, an existing warehouse with an existing operation, the most important thing to take care about is integrating the automation without interrupting the operation in the warehouse. So at Savoie, we focus on this transition phase, and we support our customers with careful planning on how to integrate our equipment to automate the warehouse without stopping and blocking the current operation. As a matter of fact, we are currently installing a robotic solution in Dubai for a leader customer in automotive warehouse spare parts business. We had a lot of discussions with the customers on how to implement our solution because he has already an operation in progress. And at the end, we decided to gradually install the system by first stage as a first step of the project. And then we run the next phase of the project. So in this case, we don't stop the production. Another challenge, I believe, it would be, and as Tony in the previous discussion also mentioned, the connectivity and the complexity of integrating the automation solution with the existing warehouse infrastructure, especially when you have existing software, existing shelving, existing storage. And lately, I would say also we have to take care about the mindset change, because when you shift from manual to automation, there is a change of behavior in the way you work. Because in manual, you used to work from man's to good solution. So the operator go to the good, bring it and prepare the order. While when you shift to automation, you will be goods to man solution. So the good will come to the man to prepare the order. A lot of challenges, of course, will not list them all, but all these challenges that I've listed and the one that not listed, like price, other challenges as well, all these challenges can be addressed and overcome by a careful planning and a collaboration between the management, the IT, and the operation, so the companies can benefit from the automation to increase their productivity, efficiency, and competitiveness in their warehouse operation.
Perfect. And Quentin, over to you next. Obviously, IoT is a big new technology that's emerging here in warehousing. How does that fit into Saudi Vision 2030, and where do you see it playing a role in the future of warehousing here in the region?
So it's an integral part of smart logistics, and but it's so much about when we think about automation, we think about making processes smoother, we think about reducing manual labor cost. The truth is, if you automate against a manual with the labor costs over in this region, it's almost parity in terms of cost, right? So the benefit has to sit in the data play. And if you think more broadly to the use of network architecture aligned with your logistics play, it allows you to make much smarter decisions. And what that will do is generate lower costs, and that's where your return on investment comes. So when you think about the return on investment on a smart warehouse, people think about it in a very short term, but actually what the truth is, it's you're delaying future CapEx spend, you're extending the life of a warehouse, and in terms of the short run, that will generate much more opportunity for growth and investment in the future. So it's a delicate play, and it's early days in the region for this, but suddenly the thinking and what we're hearing in the market here in KSA is a real ambition, particularly in the PIF companies, to invest now in IoT, in smart logistics, and in green warehousing as well, all wrapped up together.
Would you say that is one of the main obstacles then, like that reluctance to make that initial step into developing smart warehouses, or where are the obstacles here in the region when it comes to, adopting technology?
Yeah, it's challenging, but I think there are, when we think about Vision 2030, we've got 59 logistics zones. If you imagine each one of those logistics zones has 250 warehouses, the opportunity is about 18 trillion SAR. to build and develop these warehouses across the 59 logistics zones. Only 21 of those zones are operational now. So in order to reach demand and land prices in Riyadh are not cheap. You need warehouses to be more efficient, more productive, and be part of a smart supply chain. And I think that's the sell now. And I think luckily with Saudi Telecom, IoT, and with the PIF, we've got some real visionary leaders across some of those businesses that say, actually, we want to be first to market to do this.
And Khalil, over to you now. What are some of the advanced automation solutions that Savoie have, and how can they help companies develop better operations in their warehouses?
Yeah, as mentioned, at Savoie, we provide warehouse automation solution. We have a big portfolio, but let me focus on a few things. Like today, the market is shifting toward the robotic solutions. And for sure, we have our own ACRs, autonomous case handling robots, AMRs, which are a flexible solution, reliable, and the most important thing, it's adaptable solution, which can adapt to the future growth of the business and to the business change demands as well. So in terms of robotics, for sure, but I believe the robotic solution will not also replace the traditional conventional shuttle systems. So we have our ASRS, the autonomous shuttle storage and retrieval solutions, and we are currently implementing the latest innovative, advanced, I can say, fulfillment center here in Riyadh for iHerb with our shuttle system to fulfill 15,000 orders per day as a start. And this project is in line with Vision 2030 of the Kingdom and in line with the strategy to be a logistic hub for the region as Saudi. Beyond the automation as well, in terms of technologies and equipment, we have the software part, as mentioned. So we have the warehouse management software and the warehouse execution software, which give us the capability and ability to integrate our product manufacture in-house. So we are manufacturing our own products and also integrating third-party equipment or products to provide our customer with a full turnkey solution. Because our aim at Savoie is not sell only equipment or product. So we sell a solution and value to our customers. If you have chance, you can visit still our booth. We can discuss further about our technologies, but you will notice our slogan is a one-stop shop provider integrating advanced technologies and software for the future supply chain. So feel free to pass by and we can discuss further. We have a big range, but I just highlighted few technologies and software.
And Quentin, obviously Starlinks is making substantial investments in the region currently and for the company to grow going forward. How have these investments kind of transformed operational efficiencies for the company and the focus as well on customer experience? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting point Khalil made about turnkey solution. The unlock, I think, in the turnkey solution is not just in designing, building, and implementing an automated solution. It's actually operating it. So the fact that we are 3PL and a 4PL logistics operator mean that we'll debug the implementation for you, because we've all been to warehouses where you go there and they've got a great automation thing and it's sitting there inactive, and you say why, and they say, well, we just never could get it to work. So by us designing, building, and then operating in a 4PL, it then gets rid of all the bugs and then gets the automation, gets all the benefits of the automation. So that, I think, is an important factor. We have you've seen our standout there. We have the Geek Plus solution, which I think just today did 11,000 shipments out of one warehouse. So we're very happy with that. But of course, there are many other different solutions out there. And of course, the solution needs to be bespoke to the requirement. A big part of it is the initial data analysis, right? So thinking not just what are the inbound, outbound metrics of this facility, but what's the future vision for it? So you can design something that's going to have longevity. And I think that's for us. In terms of our customers, brand owners, particularly in the e-commerce world, they care passionately about their brand. They care about the products that are going through your warehouse. So if you're able to show something like that we've got the automated, and it's hybrid actually, rather than fully automated, then that shows a care and compassion for their product, and they want to bring their products to your warehouse. And that extends all the way, not just through fulfillment, but to last mile as well. And the last mile solutions are very difficult place, lots of players, very small margins, but actually the end-to-end logistics experience for a brand owner is really important, because it's ultimately you can be the face of their brand, their customers' experience.
And obviously, e-commerce is booming in the region right now. How do you keep up with the demand that is being put on delivery systems for e-commerce? Like, where are you seeing this moving towards?
Yeah, we're seeing huge demand in e-commerce, and it's probably the fastest growing of our 4 divisions right now. Interestingly, we talk about robotics, but drones or inventory management is an important play right now, an increasingly important play, because inventory that's sitting there inactive is costing a business 20 to 30% of the cost of that item every single day, right? And that's for insurance, lighting, the cost of capital, and financing and things like that, right? And so having we've got a real sensitivity to inventory levels right now in organizations. We've seen out there, you can see the Dexery inventory management AGV robot. They do drone solutions as well. And I think that's really important. But also, coming out of COVID and the Red Sea crisis, brand owners are very sensitive about inventory levels. So there's a real tension between, I want the minimum level of inventory because this is about working capital, and also I want to be sure that I've got enough suppliers and I've got enough inventory to withstand a strategic shock like the Red Sea crisis or COVID, for example. So there's a real tension at play there. And what customers need is good data.
Khalil, moving on to you now. Savoy obviously is at the cutting edge of automation and technology. What future advancements do you see in the industry and in the technology that you see coming into the play in the region in the next few years?
Yeah. So as mentioned by Sir Quentin, first, the inventory is very important. So we have, let me speak a bit about the software, and I will speak about the advancement features that I see, and I believe the audience will have others advancement. But in terms of software, let's focus on the software. In terms of software, we have the split between the management software and the execution software. The management software is the one Mr. Quentin speaks about. It's the software that gives you a real-time visibility about the inventory inside your warehouse. It will optimize as well your warehouse to benefit from the maximum space utilization and from the minimum travel time of the products inside your warehouse. It will give you also a data analytics, so you know where would be your bottlenecks and how you can optimize your operation. Now, for the execution software, it will orchestrate, if you want, the machines and robotics, which we talk about inside your warehouse. So it will give you a real-time monitoring of the equipment inside your warehouse. It will prioritize the tasks depending on the order deadline, depending on the inventory availability. So you make sure that you are fulfilling the order on time. So for this software, what I see as advancement, we all talk about the AI, the artificial intelligence. So I believe the artificial intelligence is one of those advancements that will allow these softwares to self-learn and to take corrective actions on real-time basis. We all recall the last pandemic or last crisis happened in Dubai due to the heavy storm and the heavy rain. And after the storm, the supermarkets had a lack of products because they were not able to deliver the products to their stock. So imagine we have the AI, which will predict what will happen based on the connection with the weather, all these things. And what we could do, we could have increase the stock coverage inside supermarkets instead of 2-3 days, 7 days. And in this case, we could avoid having the risk of this lack of stock. Another advancement, I believe, would be also the Internet of Things, the IoT and the smart sensors. While deploying smart sensors into our equipment, into our technologies, those will give us a real-time monitoring of the performance of the equipment. So what this will add value to the companies, they will do preventive maintenance and avoid having a operational risk and stop of their performance, because they will know ahead of time that, for example, this machine will be stopped. They do some maintenance on it to avoid this stoppage and avoid the performance stoppage and the operation stop.
And these softwares that Savoie offer, how easy is it for a company to adopt them? Like, is there any pain points when it comes to adoption of these softwares, and how do you get past this with clients?
Yeah, when you talk about software, it's a connection between existing ERP and if let's split it between both softwares. You have the WMS and the WES. When you talk about the management software, it's an integration between your existing ERP and the software. Well, at Savoie, since we are the developer of the software, so we don't face this issue because we can customize it based on the existing ERP on our customer side. When we talk WES, which is the warehouse that control the equipment, it's an integration between the WMS and the PLC level of the automation solution. So also for the WES, we haven't faced any issue integrating these together, because as mentioned, we have the upper hand on the software. We are developing it so we can customize it to make it running easily and smoothly in the customer warehouse.
And Quentin, back over to you now. You mentioned earlier drone technology. How relevant is that for Starlinks, and where do you see it progressing in the next couple of years as well?
So I think of course, there is a play for drones in last mile, of course, and anybody who knows the traffic in Riyadh will probably testament that it's coming. But certainly in warehousing, it's about inventory management. It's about whether it's for business to business or whether it's fast-moving e-commerce, the ability to have a very rapid inventory cycle count, so you can properly monitor your stock turn. So you can reduce the number of items, reduce the amount of time items are remaining in the warehouse, because of course that's capital, and that's working capital and its profitability.
You mentioned earlier as well some of the disruptions that have been happening in the region in the past couple of years. How is Starlinks adapting to these and getting past some of the challenges that have cropped up in the last little while?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last 6 to 9 months have had some real strategic challenges, and I think by horizon scanning, and because we operate from Dammam and from Jeddah, there are options on both sides of the kingdom, and what we've seen is a huge growth in the amount of freight coming into Dammam port, and also an increased load on the rail network across the kingdom. So having the flexibility to shift between Dammam and Jeddah has been very helpful. I think you need a robust road and rail network to support that. I think strategic shocks are a fact of life. They'll happen all the time, and you have to be able to have a plan B.
And Khalil, back to you about Savoie and your sustainability. How does Savoie's equipment enhance sustainability for companies? Where do you see the gains there?
Yeah, while you implement automation, robotic solutions or shuttle system, with this equipment, you will enhance the efficiency and productivity inside the warehouse. While you enhance these, you will have higher productivity inside the warehouse. You can have higher order performance. So, and these machines are meant to work. We tell our customer, they ask us, how long do you think these machines will run? These machines, we normally tell 10 to 15 years, but these machines are meant to run 30, 40, 50 years. So while implementing the automation, you will have this full sustainability into your operation.
And I suppose touching on that more human elements of machinery potentially replacing labor and workers, where do you stand on that, and kind of your thoughts on that whole debate?
Well, for sure, when you implement automation, it's meant to replace the operators inside the warehouse, especially that most of the companies will look on the return on investment, and when they calculate the return on investment, they are calculating how many operators they are saving to pay back the automation. So it's meant to replace the operator. Another factor, not just replacing the operators. You still need operator to run these automation, but you will need skilled operator that has trained to run these advanced automation, advanced robotics. And Tony also speak about something that you might have operators inside your warehouse which are used to run a 20 years back machine. You cannot benefit, for example, from these operators to run the advanced technologies. So you will have to train these operators to maybe replace them with another skilled operators. So it will replace in a place the operators, but you will still need operators to run these technologies and automation.
And Quentin, back over to you then. Starlink's obviously is a Saudi-based company. What are the company's plans for expansion in the region in the coming years? Is there anything there, or you're focusing mainly here in the kingdom?
No, definitely expansion across the wider GCC, particularly in e-commerce, but also in business to business. Clients are saying to us, great, fantastic, doing it well in the kingdom. Can you also do Dubai, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait? And so having an ability to move into those regions, either through a partnership or through an acquisition or through organic growth, is certainly something we're looking at right now, looking at very seriously. I think UAE pretty much is probably where the initial growth sits. But I think anybody who's a serious player here would want to have a pan-GCC offering.
Okay. Thank you very much to our panelists. I'd like to open the floor to some questions if anybody would like to ask anything now. Maybe we're good. No worries. So can we get a big round of applause for our two panelists today? Good evening, everybody. I'd like to introduce Vivek Kulkarni, who is a civil engineer specialized in industrial building and special flooring, flat floors and concrete technology. Mr. Kulkarni will be speaking about dust-free and extremely durable concrete floors for industrial and warehouse building. If you'd like to give him a round of applause and welcome to the stage.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank the organizers for giving this opportunity to present our flooring systems. Just to introduce our company, I represent Concrea Floors, which is a Finnish company, and we have our headquarters in Helsinki, Finland, and we have operations in USA, India. Of course, we have recently started our office in Dubai, and also we are looking forward for the Saudi market. So yeah, I'll just start with a small presentation. And our company was, we started our operations in Finland in 2012. And then also we have our manufacturing units in Finland and Portugal, in India. And as of now, we are supplying our materials from our India plant. And also we have our plans to have our manufacturing plant here. So we have our R&D center, in-house R&D center in Helsinki. And we have supplied our flooring systems for more than 40 countries. So basically, Concrea is a company manufacturing different dry shake hardeners, densifiers, and different flooring systems for industries, manufacturing units, warehouses, and also the supermarkets. It's like actually the first project for us in Saudi. It was for Tamimi supermarkets for one of the warehouses near Jeddah. So it can be used in manufacturing plants, grocery stores, big box retailers, and also we are providing the systems for the data centers. One of the really important client is Amazon Web Services, and we are working on at least 5 of their data centers across India. So as I told you, like we have done more than 10 million square meters of floorings across the globe, and we have a patented system called Optimal Slab, which provides a durable and ecological solution for the industries. compared to any kind of polymer or epoxy or PU floors. If you come from any of the manufacturing units, manufacturing industries, or logistic parks or warehousing units, you usually see these kind of issues in the floor. Usually the dusting and cracks and all those stuff. So we provide a system which will avoid these kind of issues. So as I told you, we have a patented system which is a conglomerate of 5 to 6 products which make it a complete flooring solution. Yeah, so we have first off, one of our products is the dry shake hardener, which is a cementitious dry shake hardener, non-metallic, and it is applied on a wet concrete surface and making it a permanent topping for the concrete floors. So basically, if you see any of the concrete floors and you take a core out of that, it will look like this. So the advantage of having more dry shake hardener enables us to give a durable concrete floor than just a concrete floor where like it may start dusting and affect the environment, and also there may be health issues the guys working there by inhaling that fine particles from the concrete. Our system is tested for, of course, it is C certified, and also it has been tested in several global universities and also labs, providing a dust-free surface. The slide we are showing is BCA testing. It's boom abrasion resistant testing, and it's a comparison of how the regular concrete floors and our concrete floors differ. So basically, it provides a very hard and abrasive resistant concrete floor, which minimum lifetime is like 20 to 25 years. And also we have a liquid densifier which makes the floor dust free. It reacts with the concrete and makes the hardest bond possible. We call it calcium silicate hydrate, which is a form of a gel forming material. When it reacts with the concrete or any cementitious materials, it provides a smooth and dust-free surface. And the biggest advantage of using this system is like you don't need any kind of topping once you use this system. It may be a manufacturing unit where a lot of wear and tear is there, or a logistics center where you have a lot of MHEs moving around, and also the data centers where you need a dust-free surface. You might have seen many of these issues where like the fibers used in the concrete coming up on the surface and creating issues in the movement of the MHEs. So when I say MHEs is basically the metal handling equipments. So there may be some issues coming out of that, but our system provides a permanent solution for this, and it completely hides all the fibers coming on the surface. And said this, we also have color dry shake hardeners which provide a permanent color floors for the industries. So when a regular concrete floor is used with industrial gray or a darker shades, usually the LRV is really less. LRV is basically the light reflective value, which helps in using minimum lightings in a building. So it also adds to the green building points by using less lighting requirements. For example, if you see the white floors, it has an LRV of 70% compared to the darker shades like gray, which is of 30%. So basically, you are saving almost 35 to 40% of the lighting arrangements in any of the facilities. So we can give 3 kinds of finishes where like you can have a matte finish or a very polished glossy finishes, and also it can give a terrazzo look. Usually the terrazzo is used with epoxy terrazzos where the carbon emissions are really high. For example, if you want to have a floor of 1 square meter of 3 mm thickness, it generates carbon of around 43 kgs. But where our system generates only 0.4 kgs of carbon emission. So it's really a green product. Actually, this was done in one of our plants in in a client's warehouse facilities in Finland, where they wanted a white floor, but they don't wanted epoxy because it has to be done every 2 or 3 years. So we gave them an optimal slab with white surface, which has a very high LRV. And we have done in some of the very extreme conditions like Saudi, where like we have really extreme high temperatures where application of dry shake hardeners is a bit difficult. And this was done in one of the hotels where in the open areas, and they wanted a white and light gray surface. And this was done in open area in a hotel, in front of the hotel area. So you can see a pure white and light gray shades here, and very nice aesthetic views with good abrasion resistance. And this was done, actually this is done a couple of years back in Delhi. It's one of the biggest convention centers of around 80,000 square meters, of 2 halls of 40,000 each, where they wanted a pure white floor. And you can make a complete seamless floor where there are no joints in the floor. For example, if you go for granite or a marble, you have joints in every 6 or 8 feet or even 10 feet, but you can have jointless floor up to like 4,000 square feet of single panel. So no joints are needed for this floor when it is designed as seamless. And then this was our first project in Saudi a couple of years back for Tamimi supermarket. They have a warehouse facility and also a cold storage area in Jeddah. Near Jeddah, it's basically King Abdullah economic city. So it's done there. So we are coming up with more of their supermarkets also in Riyadh. And then we have some of the references across the globe where we replaced the epoxy systems, and we have provided a permanent solution with ecological solutions. So you can see these are basically the concrete floors. So no topping is applied on the surface or no epoxy is done. But you can see a very nice glossy surface, and we provide a dust-free warranty of 20 years. This is one of the plants in India where I think TVS is one of the biggest automobile industries. So they shifted from the regular conventional systems. And also this is one of the Tata Advanced Systems is aeronautical manufacturing unit. Actually, they are the manufacturer for the Airbus flights manufacturing unit. So it's a light gray floor there, and you can see it's really high abrasion resistant and very low end wear resistant, and wear and tears. It can handle any kind of movements like MHEs or even heighted warehouses and racks. And I said like it's a really green concrete solution because we can replace the cement up to 30 to 35% with fly ash or GGBS. So making sure that we use minimum of, we go for a minimum emission of carbon dioxide. So this was done, I think some of the guys you might be knowing about this Lidl warehouses. Lidl is a supermarket chain in Europe, and they had one of the projects in Holland where they wanted to have SAM3 kind of a cement, which is like almost replacement of 40 to 45% of the cement with the fly ash. So they had, it's one of the BREEAM certified, 5-star certified warehouses, and we are very happy to say that like we have our Concrea optimal slab system has been used there. And thank you again for giving this opportunity where I tried presenting our flooring systems. Thank you a lot.
Good evening and welcome. welcome to the last session of Riyadh International Industry Week, and thank you for joining us. I know it's Thursday evening, so it's quite a big call for some of the audience to be here. But we are putting everything on YouTube, so you can share it. If you're a speaker, you can share it with your community, with your company, and with your clients, etc. So it's not just the people in the room, it's also the reach of the social media and the videos. The subject of the last session is something that any industry is on the alert about. And at the moment, we have a geopolitical situation. During the pandemic, we had a health situation. Supply chains and the disruptions are never ending. It's not just one event, it can be a multiplicity of events to do with the weather, to do with politics, to do with anything really. And we have three experts here with us today to kind of give us their opinions on supply chain disruption and the challenges and the solutions to those disruptions. So I do appreciate you being with us today. Thank you very much. We have some fantastic opinion formers here with us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and just go down the line, if you don't mind. And ladies first. If you could introduce yourself, your company, and a little bit about what you do.
Thank you very much.
And could you have the microphone like a couple of inches away from your mouth so we can hear you and speak up, please,
Can you hear
for the
me?
video?
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very thrilled to be here as the CEO of DB Schenker, where we offer logistics and transportation solutions. My name is Mariam Al-Shibani. I'm leading a dynamic team that continue to shape the future of global trade and connectivity. My background experience is in managing organizational change with a great success story since I joined DB Schenker in 2021, leading the transformation, turning the challenges into opportunities and moving the company further to become stronger and resilient.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jafar.
Thank you for hosting us, definitely. My name is Abdullah Jafar. I've been joining the supply chain since 2005. I started my career in a factory in Jeddah. And the supply chain at that period of time used to be, let's say, a cost center and more of a supporting function. Today it's completely different. I've been through different roles at IKEA, at Unilever, and recently I've joined SAP as the head of supply chain solutions.
Thank you. And Mr. Khatri.
Hi, myself Vikash. I run a boutique consulting based out of Mumbai in the field of logistics and supply chain. We are almost an 8-year-old consulting organization, too much focused on the India-centric logistics. That's our niche area where we focus it. Prior to this, I was Vice President Strategy with one of the leading logistics firms, Gati, in India.
Thank you very much. Just for the people in the audience that don't speak English, if we could slow down on your language, please. Thank you very much, just so everybody has access. If anybody wants a translation from English into Arabic or another language, if you use the QR code, you can read in 57 languages on your phone what is being said in the conference. We're relying on some artificial intelligence here just to help people out. There's a QR code behind me if you need that. I'm going to start with Dr. Mariam first. The supply chain is the lack of visibility. There is a lack of visibility in what happens in the supply chain. And Schenker's managed to support visibility, creating transparency and end-to-end supplies. How do you do that exactly? What is the technology behind that?
Okay, well, let me start by saying that disruption in the supply chain highlights the importance of end-to-end visibility. So as a 3PL, 4PL provider, we play a crucial role in ensuring end-to-end visibility in order to face such challenge or such disruption by leveraging technologies such as predictive ETA. So the predictive ETA, what does it does exactly is that it allows us to anticipate any potential delays or obstacles in transit, providing us with reliable information about the status of the shipment, and then from there, decisions can be made in terms of contingencies in order to make sure that we, or ensures the customer satisfaction. By combining or integrating the predictive ETA with our logistics solution, we can have a real-time insight of the status of the shipment, optimizing routing, and at the same time implement contingency plan to enhance or to ensure the supply chain efficiency in face of such a disruption. By doing this proactive approach, we mitigate the risks, we ensure or enhance the customer satisfaction, and at the same time, we ensure the smooth flow of goods from origin to destination. Now, one of the things that also DB Schenker offers is an end-to-end or different, let's say, mechanisms and solutions. One of them is an end-to-end visibility for both our internal team and the customer. It is called the Intercontinental Supply Chain Solution, or what we call ISC. This offers PO management from the, at the end of, or at the level of the item itself, with online integration with factories and suppliers. In addition to predictive ETA and vessel tracking. With this, we make sure that the supplier management is being more efficient. We reduce the value of inventory and safety stock, and at the same time, we have a real-time visibility and minimize, or let's say, yes, minimize the unplanned supply chain cost to that. Given all of this, that would ultimately result in, let's say, enhancing the supply chain reliability and resilience.
Excellent. I just want to take that little bit. You mentioned IOC.
ISC.
Sorry?
ISC.
ISC. Can you just explain what that is to the audience? Because I'm completely like an amateur when it comes to supply chain logistics.
So actually, it's a system that provides a PO management or a purchase order. So once the customer has, or wants a purchase order in place, they can have that in the system, and that is online, integrated online with all the suppliers and the factories. Okay. So that whenever they need it on demand, they can order it. They will have better management of suppliers, and at the same time, it will provide not only a predictive ETA, but also there is a vessel tracking, so that you know exactly where the shipment is and which vessel, when is it arriving, and so forth. So that provides a full end-to-end visibility to the customer.
Excellent. Okay, Mr. Jafar, can you address some of the challenges I identified, like things, the various things that can cause delays? I mean, what kind of disruptions are there within the supply chain? As I said, weather or political, but there must be others. So I don't know. A ship might be sailing and their Wi-Fi is not working. So how do you track the IoT? The signals? I don't know. I'm a bit of a junior on all of this. So enlighten us to some of the disruption factors, the more common ones.
Indeed. Definitely, there are a lot of disruptions that are happening around the world. And if we talk about port, maybe one of the key things being port congestions, they contribute a lot toward delays within the supply chain. And I think Dr. Mariam touched on a very important point around visibility, and how building visibility really helps companies within the supply chain to react fast and to connect data in different ways. So visibility is about connecting weather temperatures, for instance, and how it affects the supply chain. It's about connecting delays about shipments. It's about connecting the operational data of companies to these factors. And these will definitely help companies to proactively address any disruption within the supply chain. And imagine having this kind of data around and leveraging the power of AI, So definitely this latest trend, the AI, how you can get the best out of it by asking the AI, like, what is the impact of the congestion at Jeddah port on my shipments today? And the AI will be able to tell you your orders for XYZ customer will be delayed by this amount of days. And then you can do what if scenarios, you can do what if simulations, and you can do what if it takes 2 or 3 days even further. What will be the impact on my supply chain? So this is, I would say, one of the key things that are today helping us to manage and to mitigate some of the disruptions. The supply chain is very agile, and the disruption will always remain there. And that's what technology will help us to try to mitigate some of these risks around.
So what are the most common types of technologies used for this integrated system that you talked about? And you've just described some of the challenges. What are the most common technologies that are being used by your industry at the moment? Obviously, you need some kind of Wi-Fi, don't you?
Indeed,
I mean, that would be one.
Yep, indeed. I think I can touch on Internet and technology, the IoT. So how you can connect your machines and how you can connect your assets with sensors, and how you can use what we call it digital twin. So for all of your assets, you can create a digital twin. So even the manufacturer of the assets, or the manufacturer of the truck, for instance, since we're talking about logistics, can know the status of that truck. What is the oil level of that truck? What is the tire pressure status as well? So this will help the manufacturer and, let's say, the owners to monitor things remotely and digitally, and that will help definitely to proactively address any challenges with that truck in advance.
So does the digital twin sort of predict what might happen within the supply chain?
Indeed. So with monitoring the data and with having the visibility on what is the status, and with leveraging the historical data, and with having, let's say, the benchmark, you don't need maybe to stop the truck. You can run the truck since the numbers and the measures are fair and they are fine. Unless there is like an alert from the system or from the data gathered that, by the way, you need to stop the truck for 4 hours to run a maintenance or schedule a maintenance. So that keeps the assets efficiency higher, and that keeps things running without really disrupting them and without really touching them, unless it's required to do so.
Okay, thank you. So I know a lot more now about digital twinning. Mr. Khatri, there are different types of things being transported around the world. So I'll give you a couple examples. Plastic toys is one example. And then we've got, say, ingredients that GlaxoSmithKline might use from the rainforest in Brazil that need to get to a chemical plant in Europe at a certain time, or livestock coming from Argentina via a Salik route into Saudi Arabia. So what kind of disruptions might we see within those, kind of different categories?
So instead of going with the categories, I will go with the supply chain disruption. First, we should categorize. One is the natural disruption, which was always there. Second is the man-made disruption. Third is the situational disruption. So situational disruption, when we see the natural disruption, it was always there. We can never say that supply chain was having no disruption. But what has happened now, I am not going to a specific category, then I will come to the category. The man-made disruption has increased significantly, and which is hurting supply chain a lot. We can see, if we see last 4 or 5 years in supply chain, I think now disruption has become a new normal for the supply chain. You cannot expect next day will be same as today. One day COVID, 2 years, someday Red Sea, someday Black Sea, and this is creating a huge problem. So when we see, you are saying that livestock or anything, it depends on the trade lane, it depends on the geopolitics. Geopolitics has become a very big influencer in supply chain disruption, and that's one of the reasons more than 90% CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are concerned about their supply chain disruption. This is the reason. So I cannot go on the category specific, because every category is having the challenges of disruption that can be unique.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. So I think that's kind of educated the audience a bit more about those 3 disruption types. And if we go to like the man-made disruptions, what would be give me some examples from current history, Mr. Khatri?
So man-made, if I say man-made, so first topmost right now which I recall is the geopolitics. That's a purely man-made. So every economy is competing, but competing sometimes it's a healthy competition, sometimes it is an unhealthy competition. Plus there are vested interest of the geographies which disrupt overall supply chain. A conflict in Taiwan and China can impact the semiconductor supply chain across world, which can have impact on the high-tech industry, which can have impact on the automobile industry. So this I never see as a natural reason for the disruption. Something is intentional also.
So really, I mean, there's a lot of risk calculation involved in what you guys do, really, isn't there? You know, how do you get stuff from one side of the world to the other? It's very interesting. I'd like to continue with tech solutions that are helping to manage those disruptions. So obviously geopolitics is something that you're not going to use technology for, but what about the other types of technology solutions?
So when we come to the technology side, we can divide technology in 3 stages. One is the basic technology, functional technology, which normally even a SME is having. Second level is the optimization technology, and third level is the risk mitigation technology. Whenever we are talking of the disruption, level 2 and level 3 plays a vital role in mitigating. Tools might be various. Tools might be, I can say, visibility, as rightly said. Visibility can be through your IoT, visibility can be through your ERP, visibility can be, medium can be alike, tech tool can be different. One is the technology. Another thing I see that predictive things, where machine learning or AI capturing it, and then through machine learning they are predicting. That's another tool which plays a vital role, especially in managing. Rightly said by you, geopolitics you cannot predict, because that's a absolutely different thing. Apart from that, if I recall other technologies, connected ecosystem is another technology. Tool might be blockchain, somebody might be using some other tool, but connected ecosystem, AI, ML, I will rate as the top things to do in the managing supply chain disruption.
And at Schenker, what kind of technologies are you particularly using? You kind of started with the ICE, the purchase order. You talked about AI.
Yes, well, DB Schenker offers multiple innovative technologies in order to enhance supply chain. One of these technologies is the 3D printer services that offers on-demand production. This allows customers to have their spare parts produced on demand, which result in minimizing the carbon footprint, at the same time streamlining the supply chain. We already have one in the exhibition that we already showcased. So this is one of the technologies that would also support in terms of for any supply chain also disruption whatsoever, to have it there on demand for any such production needed for such spare parts.
So you've just hit on a real good point there about something that's embedded into the vision. Is about sustainability. So you're trying to lower that carbon footprint with some. So what other measures are you taking in terms of lowering that carbon footprint and what you do?
Well, one of the things, of course, is that globally we are investing also in sustainable trucks, so that electric trucks or that ensure sustainability also. So this is one of the things that we are also tackling and making sure that it's, in place. Thank you.
And do you use a lot of paper in the office?
No.
There you go. That's a good point. We don't like paper anymore, do we?
No, everything is digitalized.
Well, I've got some in my hand here, but...
No, everything is digitalized, and of course with all the improvements and the developments that happen also within the government, within, for example, the customs authority, whatsoever, everything now is happening online within the system, so it's more paperless environment.
So even the purchase order system you talk all online and integrated with all the stakeholders in the chain. Excellent. Mr. Jafar, I'm going to turn to you now, and we're going to completely change the subject. We're going to go maritime transport and ports. So Saudi Arabia is positioning itself as connecting 3 continents, 6 billion people. How are you going to manage congestion at these ports when, you know, that vision really becomes, you know, bears fruit? And is there, you know, what do you do about port congestion? So give us your views on that. Even currently, what happens in port congestion?
Exactly. So one of the key actually goals for Saudi Arabia is to become number 10 in logistics performance indicator. And this is a very primary goal for Saudi 2030 vision. And we do have a lot of ports that should enable this vision to happen. And definitely port congestion could impact this goal to be achieved. And because the faster return and the faster throughput in the ports will help to achieve a better logistics performance indicator numbers. So there are many trends within the ports that are being taken today in order to somehow manage the congestion. One of them is the port optimization, port operation optimization, and definitely another one is the digitalization and the innovation. So for instance, I'm working with a specific port in Saudi, and one of the key things they're trying to improve is the health and the safety of the ports. And once people go to the ports and they feel safe and they feel that they can do their work, they would definitely help to improve the throughput. So this is one of the key things that are happening today to address the throughput of the ports. And we touched on the visibility again, and I think this is a very key thing because congestion can be handled properly with proper visibility, because it could be there and we cannot maybe control the congestion 100%, and with proper visibility a lot of proactive actions can be taken. Another thing is, again, I'm connecting the innovation within the machines. This helps a lot to improve the congestions and take it and reduce it. And one of the latest trends I've seen as well is the investment on paperless transactions within the ports. And that leads to better clearance time and better processing time for customs. When I started my career actually in 2005, I remember that it used to take us 14, 15 days to clear a shipment. Wow. And now with the current investment, with the current throughput and with the current efficiency and technology, we're talking about a few days. So definitely that helped a lot to reduce the amount of time it takes to clear and to improve the efficiency within the ports. So definitely all these aspects and all these factors will help to have a better, let's say, reduction in the congestion amount within the ports.
So those are smart ports you're talking about?
It is.
Okay, maybe we should do a show called Smart Ports, I think. Yeah. Maybe that's the next thing.
Indeed.
And Mr. Qatari, companies who are willing to mitigate the impact of supply chain disruptions, as a consultant, you know, you're obviously advising people how to get around this, and I suppose you're telling them, you know, technology is a great help that we've just discussed here earlier. What other measures are we taking? I mean, obviously we have insurance as well, but what else is there?
So measures, if I see...
Sorry, could you go closer to the microphone, please? Sorry.
Measures, or what is the recommended things if we go with it, we will say 3+1 strategy. First is definitely visibility, because I will not talk on the efficiency front. Any corporate who is in the business will run behind efficiency because it's the question of survival. But when it comes to the disruption, 3 things. First is the visibility, where tech plays a role. Second is the resilience, where organization's DNA plays a role. Third is the agility, which is the hybrid of tech plus DNA. And +1 is sustainability. Because sustainability you might not see today or tomorrow. It is having n number of things, technology, processes, which is long term. So when we take about the visibility, it might be your IoT, it might be your control tower, anything which is bringing visibility. When we are talking about the resilience, it's your org structure. Your organization is flat organization, how quick it responds. It doesn't come only from the technology. It comes from the DNA of the organization. The changing of the DNA takes a longer time in the journey. It's not so today I have implemented any specific technology, tomorrow my response rate will change. No, it takes a very long time. Or it is a connected system. Connected system when the sharing of information is again one side technology and another side culture, organization of the culture. How much you rely with your business partners, your supplier, you share the information with them. So that's the connected information takes the another part. When we talk about the agility, is the organization lean? Lean plays a role over there. So that's another way of looking. Plus, any of the supply chain, today's supply chain head cannot work in silos or cannot work within organization. They need to remain connected with the end consumer, at least the pattern which are taking place in the market. Only then he can react. He can have certain predictive analytics. But predictive analytics can come from two ways. One is your analytical, your forecasting tool as given. That's a mechanical way. That might be precise, sometimes 98%. But a supply chain head also needs to be connected with the market. What is happening with their sales team? Then they can take a better way in managing this disruption.
So, as a consumer, thank you for that. But Mr. Jafar, as a consumer, I order something from Amazon, right? And it's not available in Saudi Arabia, so it's coming from Europe, for example. And I want my dinner service to arrive on time because I'm having a gathering or something like that. And I get the predictive analysis that you're talking about says your product has been packed and then your product is on the way to wherever. And what I find is that quite often it says it's going to be delivered on the 10th, but actually it only arrives on the 12th. So there isn't some kind of feedback loop to say, actually there's been a disruption in this. And I mean, as professionals in this, what are you doing about that? Because, I want my goods on the 10th. And I know this is like a very, very personal question to me, but there's a lot of people out there who've said, well, my delivery's coming tomorrow, I'm really excited, but actually it doesn't arrive. So what can you supply chain people do about that, as like meeting my expectations as a consumer, or making sure when I walk into Tamimi, the mangoes are on the shelf because it's mango season?
Indeed. So we're talking about two things. So the first one is that you might not get the information about your order, about your product, because we're talking about a supply chain, and sometimes the supply chain is fragile, and there are silos within that supply chain. So the first thing is to, as I think my colleague mentioned as well, is to bring the supply chain to coherence and to have a resilient supply chain. Breaking the silos will make sure that all the information is shared seamlessly, and you would know when things are going to come to you, and you would know if there is a delay. So that's maybe the first aspect, is to improve the resilience of the supply chain. I think you mentioned another thing. If you are walking to Tamimi or if you're walking to another supermarket, you want to make sure that your product is in the right shelf. In here, we're talking about maybe an important aspect within the supply chain, which is the prediction of the forecast or the demand planning. And I used to be a demand planner 20 years ago, and things used to be very difficult to predict even that point of time. We were doing forecasts for coming 3 months, 6 months, and then we used to say, let the supply chain run by itself. And definitely the accuracy won't improve or won't be that higher, and out of stock would be occurring within the supply chain. What we are trying to emphasize on today is that you do your forecast, you do whatever it takes to have a future forecast, and then you ask the intelligence and you ask the machine learning to collect the data from the point of sales in the supermarket, from the shipment information, from what consumers are buying, and on a daily basis, change the forecast depending on what's happening in the market. So that daily sensing and that capability of gathering the data on a daily basis, analyzing it, will change the whole supply chain and will make the whole supply chain aware that doctor is going to the supermarket and he wants his mango and he's not finding it. So that kind of daily sensing will help to say, no, there is a problem. Maybe we can ask DB Shankar to go and ship something very fast to fulfill that demand. So that daily information is needed, and human cannot have that daily interaction with this huge amount of data.
Okay. Yeah, because then the supply chain, just like we talk about personalization in manufacturing, there can be personalization in supply.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
And I've got my last question is for the doctor. Training people to use the technology in Saudi Arabia, where are we and what are the challenges and what do we need to make this all work seamlessly?
Well, actually, what we are offering, for example, internally, is having a campus in place that offers all the training that is needed for all the nationals and all the trainees and interns. This is a very crucial thing because we believe that we have to invest in the people in order to make sure that our operations run smoothly. And this is why we set up, or we have the campus set up in place, in which it provides all the operational, technical, whatsoever requirement for that person to be fully capable of handling such, for example, technologies or operations or whatsoever. So this is something that we really invest in, and we believe that this is the building block for any successful operations and to maintain the supply chain efficiency and continuity.
And I think the government are doing a good job with the Logistics Academy in Jeddah, and there's one in Riyadh
Yes.
as well. So,
Yes.
you know, people are taking it seriously to upskill people to be logistics experts. So, yeah, great. Just like experts like the three of you are here today who joined us. And I'd just like to say that's been really enlightening for me to understand the kind of supply chain and the three different types of disruption. I hope you all enjoyed that. And I'd like you to all give our fantastic panelists a big hand. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for staying with us so late on Thursday evening. Do you mind if we get a photograph together? Thank you.